What's up, big girl?
How are you? Good?
We're good.
Thanks, guys.
Event 1 win, back on the competition floor. You've got some fire out there.
Yeah, you know, definitely got a lot to fight for, and I'm just excited for this weekend.
How did you feel after this one? Did the sandbag, was that something that you practiced with at that weight?
Yeah, no, Shane, not necessarily that weight. It definitely was nice and heavy, but Shane definitely had us really prepared for an event like that. And so I was really pumped when that was announced.
What was it like to be back out there with the girls? A little bit of a race between you, Laura, Gabby?
Yeah, it's just so good to be back. You know, they're incredible girls, they're incredible athletes, and you know, I'm honored to be rubbing shoulders against them.
Okay, we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks so much.
Doing good. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
How'd the first event go?
It was awesome. Yeah, no. So
Crushed
it was,
it?
I
Yes?
did.
Okay, good. Awesome is a good word. It's a good word. Yeah.
I secured 100 points, so that's a bonus.
100 points. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
Rock and roll.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
so I friggin' got a flat tire. I ran over a massive bolt.
Did you say flat tire here?
Yeah, what else would you say?
Oh,
don't
puncher?
say-
The punch. I got puncher.
No, we don't say that.
Okay, I say flatty. Anyway, sorry, you go.
And I get in the car, I'm like, Mum, back tire's like really flat. I look and there's a massive bolt punctured in the tire.
Yeah, probably an M12. But, so we had to do that this morning. We had to go run around and get that fixed up. And for the most part, the day's been a little gloomy just in terms of the weather. We didn't know if the event was going ahead, but knowing the owners of Rogue, they would do anything to make the show go on, and they've done a great job of that.
Why'd you disappear on social media for 3 months?
Well, you know, I had to get to work, and you know, for me, I think it was just so important that I didn't have any distractions, and you know, Willow was my #1 priority, but I also wanted to make sure that training was also a huge priority as well. So it was just training every single day. You know what, I'm just gonna leave my hair like this. Yeah, time hasn't been on my side after having Willow and then having to get ready for the Rogue Invitational. But for me, I was adamant that I was going to do it. You know, people said that it couldn't be done, and that's a great motivation. It's not my only motivation, but I know what I'm capable of doing. I felt like I was very careful on coming back and doing the right things that were going to get me back to where I needed to be. Some things have come back way faster than expected, which is awesome, running being one of them. So I knew that this was a really great workout for me when it was announced, and I knew I needed to capitalize on it. So I'm really, really happy with that. I thought it was a really great Rogue-esque type of workout to kick off the weekend, but we have 8 events to go. When I think of all the workouts, there's some really good ones. There are definitely some things that are going to challenge me for sure. If I was, you know, my old self back in 2022, you know, I'd just be, my gosh, I'd feel untouchable. But for me, coming back this weekend, there's a lot of things that I need to see where I'm at, because I haven't been out on that competition floor. And mentally, oh man, I'm far exceeded my expectations, but physically I have to be so dialed in on what I'm doing, and I'm really pumped about this weekend.
I heard Mom's in town. Is she cooking
Mom
for you?
is in town. Mom and Shane are definitely back in the kitchen together. You know, Shane does my breakfast. Mum has been cooking the meals.
Is Dad shirtless in the stands?
Dad is not shirtless in the stands because it has been raining. But hey, who knows? We've still got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that could definitely happen.
So started day 2 now here at the Rogue Invitational. I had a great sleep today. Had a great sleep. More importantly, Tia had a good sleep too. Not much reporting, just another day at the competition, right? Like just making sure that everything's just smooth and consistent in terms of routine. That's probably been one big thing as well. It's been 18 months, right? And the addition of Willow too, which is awesome. Just like adding those additional movements or pieces to our puzzle. It's been great to find our routine. I'd even admit, like yesterday I was a little rusty. Forgot to get a few things ready for Tia. But everything's good so far. I think we got a better day weather ahead of ourselves here. Man, just excited to be back.
Has she done the bar muscles or the log muscles before?
No, not the log muscle ups. I don't think anyone really can simulate it. Maybe someone has. Maybe if you've got a farm and you just had a wood lathe sitting there and you just banged out a 4.5 inch piece of ply into a log, into a round bar. But it's hard. Like we played around with the yoke and simulated that, but it's not as fat. So that's the element, right? It doesn't matter how. It's just the thickness that matters the most.
Do you know her body weight right now?
Yeah, 62.5 kilos was what it weighed when we got off the plane and got our first day in Nashville, and that's probably a little dehydrated from the flight, so I'd say around 63 kilos. So
what's her gains weight?
Around that point too. I think for some of it, you know, like respectfully, and I'm sure she'd admit it too, like she's not as overall lean mass as she would. The sheer mass, muscle mass she would carry at the games would be a little higher. But having said that too, she's a lot leaner than she is now. So there's a good mixture of both, but somewhat the same. So she's familiar with this body weight. And to be honest, like Tia's training, like the last month was essentially, like the last 3 weeks was a breakthrough. Every week on week, she was just improving tenfold. So really happy. Oh man, like I'm proud of. She could come last, but the fact that she showed face when most would stay at home, in terms of like, why risk? For her, it's not a matter of risk. It's just a matter of why can't I, you know?
Did you tell her not to be first on the run to see kind of, because she did hold second, like aggressively.
Yeah, so the whole plan was like, hey, just find, like come out of the gate hard, just so you're not boxed in early, and then just find your placing where you want to be comfortably. And if people decide to run faster, absolutely, let them run their race. Where our race is when when we take the bag off, when the ruck's 35 pound, and then when the weight's off. Obviously she executed it really well. I just think that she ran her race, which is a real good sign for us in terms of she's still conscious of what her body's capable of, and she's really in tune with it. And I was saying to some guys yesterday, like, the scary thing for Tia is her mind is ready to go, her body just isn't there yet. And you know, it's that balancing act of like, hey Tia, like I love your head's there, I know I'm broken is on your mind, we got to think about X, Y, Z, but not discouraging her to the point where I make her second guess herself. So
do they have any regulations on like the watches and stuff like at the games? So could she wear a watch and track it?
Yes and no. Like the only thing, if you get to test the track, then fantastic, but when you're running in a 35 pound ruck plus a bag, you can't simulate a pace. You don't know what you're capable of, and when the terrain's not consistent, when there's a gradient of like maybe 3-4 degree pitch there and a 2 degree pitch at the back, it's hard to simulate a pace, maybe heart rate, but all this data is new for Tia. Like every day she runs is a different heart rate and it's getting better, so it's like we don't want to undersell herself or be too conservative. Heart rates, I mean, watches are fantastic if you know the track pretty well and you know your stride cadence or your speeds really well. She's just not there at this particular minute, and she's never worn it either, so not going to add more variables when we've already got a different set of skills to play with.
Jay,
Oh,
were you just shitting yourself just then?
what happened?
Oh, I just stuffed up I just used the wrong equipment, and my grips just, they were the worst grips to frickin' use, and you know, sometimes you just gotta keep it simple, and I knew that going into it, but you also don't know. You wanna be over prepared than under prepared. I thought, okay, yep, this is great. I'm gonna use these grips, they're gonna be nice and dry, everything, and they were grippy, but they just didn't have any fingers in them, like finger holes in them, and it was just, they just were absolutely useless because they were bunching up right like as I'm like gripping hold of the bar, and it was just putting me off. And like there is somewhat of a technique to it, you know. So
as soon as you took them off, that was the
I just got rid of it. I just got rid of them and then got back on pace.
It literally took you half the time.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like it was a little bit grippy for sure. But
Overall, body feels.
yeah, body feels great. It's only 3 workouts, which is crazy because of all the rain delays and stuff. It feels like we've been here for like 5 days. It's wild, but yeah, go home, have some nice food, get some good sleep, and be ready for tomorrow.
Good job, team.
Yeah, it's great.